So Tucker Carlson, and Tucker's a friend of mine. I actually just spoke with him last night, and he's doing some extensive traveling, and I have a feeling that he's got a couple of more interesting interviews to come. But he went over and he's interviewing Vladimir Putin, and he's putting it on his website, and it's going to be, Elon Musk has said he's not going to abridge it at all. It's going to be live to tape, meaning that you tape it, it's recorded, but you treat it like it's a live broadcast. So there's no editing, there's no cutting in. It's you might put what they call a donut on it, something in the front, something in the back, like a video marking, an intro or whatever, and that's it. But live to tape means that they treat it like it's a live thing and there's no editing. It's just what you see is what you get for however long that the duration of that interview is. And so it's going to air to I think this evening, and he was getting a lot of flack from it. And some people have been, I think, questioning his, the reason why he's going over there and interviewing Putin. And he, in this video, he put like a 2-minute long video up on X, and he was explaining that there are all of these interviews of Zelensky. And a lot of people have given a lot of airtime to Zelensky. My gosh, wasn't the wife at one of the, what is it? I can't think of it. Now I can't remember. State of the Union. Wasn't the wife a guest at one of the State of the Unions before? A lot of interviews have been given to Zelensky, a lot of magazine covers. I mean, they mentioned him like at award shows and all kinds of stuff. And he thought that it was kind of weird that there has been an absence of that from the other entity involved in this war, which he says, Vladimir Putin out of Russia. Now, I don't know if it's because they've just turned them down. And I don't put anything, they may have been. This may be, and don't put anything past, like a former KGB dude. Don't put anything past a former KGB guy to leverage anything. However, Carlson's not stupid. I've known Tucker for a long time, since bow tie days. And I've known Tucker since he thought that our mutual friend and a dear friend of mine who's since passed, Andrew Breitbart, was too out there and too over the top. Oh my gosh, if Andrew could see Tucker now. But I don't think he's dumb. I think that everyone's prejudging this interview before it's even aired. And he's asking him questions as to, well, why did you invade Ukraine? Why did you invade Ukraine? Why is all of this happening? I mean, I think those are legitimate questions that should be asked. Especially if our tax dollars are going towards paying for this conflict. And especially if our tax dollars and our participation in whatever council Ukraine has been receiving are involved in this, and it's reshaping the argument over foreign policy here domestically, then I think that you are owed an answer on that, or as close to an answer as you can get. That's journalism, and I don't disagree with that. And I think Tucker Carlson has the right to go and interview whomever he wants to go and interview. And no one needs to, crap the bed over it, for the lack of a better way to put it. But there have been a lot of journalists, I'm using this very loosely, that have been very upset over this. And they're super upset over the fact that Tucker Carlson's going over there and he was interviewing him. And oh my gosh, why? I mean, I think the American people are going to realize they're not going to sit here and buy into whatever he says. I mean, the excuses that I keep hearing from Democrats are they presuppose that Americans are so stupid that they're going to take as gospel truth whatever comes out of Putin's mouth. I mean, this guy's, again, former KGB. And the idea that anybody in the United States should be somehow, quote unquote, protected from hearing any Q&A like this is as commie as the communist that he represents. That doesn't make any sense to me either. This was Hillary Clinton. Audio soundbite 1, who, well, I'm going to play this and then I'm going to shred it. Go ahead.
I mean, he's like a puppy dog. He somehow has, after having been fired from so many outlets in the United States, I would not be surprised if he emerges with a contract with an outlet, because he is a useful idiot. He says things that are not true. He parrots Vladimir Putin's pack of lies about Ukraine. So I don't see why Putin wouldn't give him an interview, because through him, he can, continue to lie about what his, objectives are in Ukraine and what he expects to see happen. It's really quite sad that not just somebody like Tucker Carlson, who has, as I said, been fired so many times because he seems unable to, correlate his reporting with the truth. But
what is she
also
talking about?
because it's a sign that there are people in this country right now who are like a fifth column for Vladimir Putin. And why? I
Oh
don't
my
know.
gosh. If you want to have a discussion about any kind of fifth column for Vladimir Putin, let's talk about how you were green lighting certain, what is it, uranium resources, etc., for Russia without going through the proper procedures in Congress. I mean, we could sit here and talk all day about what Hillary Clinton's been a fifth column for. Just good heavens, for her, someone like her to say that. You got fired from running for president. His thing with Fox, I don't necessarily, I'm not going to sit here and speculate as to what the situation with Fox, but what other networks was he fired from? Was she talking about CNN? Because didn't he used to do like a crossfire kind of thing at CNN? But I thought that was just their contract ended. I can't stand when people say that. People try to say that about me all the time. And I'm like, simply choosing to not renew a contract does not mean someone was let go. But that's one of the things that the left does. They do it to me constantly. And allowing contracts to expire and choosing to not renew them is not being fired. And for her to say that about Carlson is incredibly disingenuous, particularly, this is the wipe the hard drive lady. But she's saying that, he's her more serious accusation is that he's a useful tool for the Russian regime. That's what she's saying. She's saying that him going over there to get this interview and to do that, he's going to come out with a contract from a Russian outlet. Well, I don't necessarily believe that either. And again, this is someone who worked with Russians when you were talking about undermining Libyan government to cede the ground. You had Blumenthal and everyone else involved in that. I mean, we could sit here and go on into all of the stuff that Hillary Clinton did. And to say nothing of Fusion GPS, literally working with the Kremlin to compile a discredited Russian dossier that the FBI refused to validate. And it was so bad and so shoddy that they literally had to lie to a FISA judge in order to get a signature to sign off on it. Oh, and let's not forget that it was Hillary Clinton's campaign that paid this discredited British spy through an unregistered FARA activist entity, Fusion GPS, that were here lobbying on behalf of Russian oligarchs to overturn the Magnitsky Act. And she was literally working and paying for Kremlin activity to get involved in the 2016 election. So Ms. Bleachbit doesn't have anything to say about this. Nothing. Close but no cigar, Hill. Close but no cigar. Wink, wink. But Carlson can go over and I mean, what was the guy with 60 Minutes? It was Mike Wallace, Chris Wallace's dad. Mike Wallace went over and he interviewed Vladimir Putin. Traitor. Why are they mad that Tucker Carlson's doing it? I don't understand. Now, keep in mind that I totally expect, the Soviet spirit, and if I were in the Kremlin and I was trying to scheme on something, I would this is a position that I would take. So look at the United States right now. A lot of people in the United States, I don't know if we've ever lived at a time when there's been such high distrust of the entities that we have engaged, that we've entered into this social contract with, right? Our government. I don't know if there's ever been such a time when there has been such a high level of distrust, right? So you have a government that's criticizing an independent journalist for going and getting the other side of the debate with the Russian-Ukraine war. And the people who are criticizing the journalists doing it are people who actively engaged in aiding and abetting one of the biggest transgressions against the American people in our country's history, which was the COVID lockdown and all of the lies that had to do with the pandemic. The same government that was spying on reporters, the same government that was spying on parents using the Patriot Act because they were speaking out in school board hearings, the same government that actually was pressuring Amazon to literally ban books, which we're going to talk about here coming up, the same government that went after Tea Party activists, the same government that has been weaponizing the IRS and politically auditing people, the same government that has been trying to suspend FFLs while at the same time protecting the president's son who illegally purchased a firearm while he was coked out of his mind and then discarded it in a trash can across the street from a school in a Coke-laden pouch. I mean, I could go on and on. I mean, there's a lot of examples and a lot of justification and a lot of righteous indignation from the American people as to great reasons why they have every reason to distrust their government. And if I were a Soviet entity, I would be exploiting that to the nth degree. And the left are the ones who are being useful idiots here. They should be encouraging, go and ask as many questions as you want. Find out as much information as you want. Sitting down and asking someone a question and interviewing them. And sometimes I get criticism about this on my show from people who have the same number of brain cells as Hillary Clinton. Why would you have this person on? Because I want to ask questions. And that's what I do. I don't stick my head up my backside and then pretend that all my conspiracy theories are real. I want to go and I want to find out the answers. And that involves sitting down with people, asking questions, and getting answers to the best of my ability. And simply sitting down and questioning someone and getting answers from them isn't an endorsement, and it shouldn't have to be explained in an era where you can get a digital dictionary on your phone in 0.5 seconds. The same thing applies here. But I'll tell you, I'm sure as hell not going to take any kind of insinuations about collusion with Russians from Hillary Clinton, the lady who ought to be in jail for conspiring with lobbyists for Russian oligarchs to discredit and rob people of a free and fair election in 2016.